Okay. So, where did we leave off last time? We were on the basic pen testing machine.
You asked me to download and second machine uh, uh, like vulnerable machine was there. The first machine you have asked me to
Investigate was there.
download second machine. I have downloaded it, sir. You say
Okay.
that you will teach me on it.
Okay.
Sir, I will mute from my side, sir, because there is a lot of noise over here. It will disturb you, sir. I will listen by keeping myself on mute, sir.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
But you see, currently I don't hear any background noise. But if
Oh,
I
then
need
fine, sir.
to ask you something, unmute yourself accordingly. That's okay.
Okay, sir.
That's
Sure,
not
sir.
an issue.
Sure, sir.
Okay. So we need to start working on the second machine. And okay, you can't completely remain on mute because I like to be interactive. I like to ask questions and stuff. So okay. Now, okay, so that second machine, basic pen testing, that is what we'll be working on. Excuse me. Okay, so now we know that since this is a virtual machine, it's on the same network as our own machine. Actually, you need to make sure that it's on the same network based on the adapter settings. Okay, so I have them both on the NAT network. So they are connected to each other as well as to the NAT setting as well. So they are on the same network, but I still need to figure out the IP address because unless I have that, I won't be able to do anything.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so for finding the IP address, I can either use this net discover, net discover. So this is a tool which I can use, and I need to specify the interface. I'll quickly just check what interface I need to use. Okay, this is actually the interface I need. So it's Ethernet 0. So net discover hyphen I for the interface. I specify that, which is Ethernet 0. And I also need to specify the network range. Otherwise, it's going to take longer.
Sir, sorry for interrupt, sir. Actually,
That's
screen
fine.
is not scared, sir.
It's not okay. Sure. My bad. Sorry. And I've told you before as well. Don't try to be so formal. If screen is not shared, that's an issue on my end. Okay, feel free to express yourself in the class. Keep that in mind. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir, I can see it now.
Okay, good. So what I'm trying to do is figure out the IP address for the machine that I want to attack. So I use net discover. I specify the interface with hyphen I. This is the interface name, Ethernet 0. And I need to specify the network range. Now I ran the IP address command. This is the interface that I'm focusing on. This is my IP address. Okay. Now it's going to be on the same network range. Of course, the IP is going to be different, but it's going to be on the same range. So 10.0.2.1 slash 24 is the actual range, but slash 24 does not really work well with this net discover tool. So I give it slash 16 and I press enter. Okay. I need to be root. No problem. We'll use sudo. Okay. So it's going to try and find out hosts for us on the network. So it has given us the names of four devices: 10.0.2.1, 2, 3, and 245. And it's still searching because dots slash 16 is a much larger address space than slash 24. But the results that we need are already here. Now, within any network, this first IP that you see, 10.0.2.1 in this case, this is going to be for the gateway. So we know that that is not our device. And this second IP, okay, now you see that the MAC address for both these IPs is the exact same. So this is just another IP for the gateway. It might have a different interface. So both the interfaces have different IPs. It's the same device. Now we come to the other two. One is this 10.0.2.3, the other is 10.0.2.245. Now we currently don't know which of these is our target device. What I can do is I can run an nmap scan for 10.0.2.3 and for 245 as well. So I can simply say 3 comma 245. So it's going to scan both of those addresses and enter. So it has said that this is the scan report for 10.0.2.245. Okay. The other one is down. So we know that this is our target device. So there is just one. I'm just pausing it for 1 minute. I need to make a change to a file. I need to restore it to its original state before I can continue with this session. So this is where we were. So now we know that this is our desired target 10.0.2.245. Now we've run a simple nmap scan and we can see that there are three open ports. But so far, by default, can you tell me how many ports nmap scans by default if I haven't specified any port range or anything?
I hardly remember like 11,000 or some 9,000 something. So
No, it actually scans just 1,000 ports by default.
okay.
Okay, so the 1,000 most common ports. It's not like it's the first 1,000 ports numerically. That's not the case. The 1,000 most common ports.
Okay, sir.
Okay, but what we want to do is we want to be thorough. Okay, we want to make sure that we don't miss anything. So we're going to run a scan for all ports. So for that we can specify hyphen p. Either you can do 1265535, or a better way is simply a shorter way is actually hyphen p hyphen. So that means scan all ports. Okay. Actually, I need to modify this command. This is not required anymore. Just the one IP is enough. Okay. So even the all ports scan has just told us that there are three open ports. Okay. So we know that these are the only three ports that we are going to see on this machine. Nothing else. So we have FTP, SSH, and HTTP. Let's try running further scans on these ports. So service version detection scan and a vulnerability scan. And I'll specify ports, okay, so that we only focus on these three: 21, 22, and 80. Because I don't want to waste time for scanning ports that are not open. We know that there are only three ports, so we can just focus on them. Excuse me. I see this is taking quite a long time. Okay, so it took a while, but the results are finally here. So the first thing that we see is for the port 21 for FTP. The version is this Pro FTPD 1.3.3c, and it's telling us that this installation has been backdoored. Okay, so we can try and use this to our advantage. SSH, you are unlikely to find any vulnerabilities with SSH. HTTP, again, there is a DOS attack vulnerability. Okay, other than that, not much. Okay, so for the FTP thing, we can try and go to Metasploit and try to exploit using that. And we can search for Pro FTPD. Let's see what we get. Yeah. Okay, this is the one we're looking for, 1.3.3. Okay, Pro FTPD 1.3.3c, backdoor command execution. This is the one we want. So I can say here use and 4. Use 4. Now I need to see what options I have available. So show options, and okay, the port is set. I just need to set the R hosts. Set R hosts, that is 10.0.2.245. Okay, then select the payload. No worries. And okay, let's go for a reverse shell. So let's see the options. Just the L host needs to be set. L host is our own IP, which is this, and I can run now. Okay, so it's telling us that the command session shell session 1 has been opened. That means if I try to run commands here, I should get result. Okay, so am I root? So I have root access to the target system now. So this is one way, which is a shorter way of hacking this system. But we don't want to take this shortcut. We want to do something else.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I mean, of course, it's good to know about these things, but we also need to know other methods to hack into the system. So let's get out of Metasploit. Now, FTP, we have seen what we can do with FTP. Also, with any FTP server, you can try to see if anonymous logging in is enabled or not. Let's see whether we are able to log in with username anonymous and password anonymous. Okay, login incorrect field. Okay, so that won't work. So with FTP, the only way to exploit this is using this vulnerability like we did with Metasploit. The other service that was available was SSH. SSH, now there's no direct way to get into SSH, okay, unless you know the usernames and you want to brute force the passwords, but that's not really worth it. So we are left with the third option, which is HTTP. Now, HTTP means there is a server running, and what can I do to access it? How do I access something over HTTP?
So, as per my knowledge, only I can do it over wget or some via browser, HTTP, you e-links something else, sir. But I don't know beyond it, sir.
No, that's just what I'm asking.
Okay.
How I access it over HTTP?
Yes, browser or CLI e-links or wget.
Okay, so let's try accessing it via the browser first. Okay, so I know that there is a web server running. I know the IP address. I'm simply going to try and access it. Okay, so we are getting something, and it's simply a page which says it works. This is a default web page for the server. The web server software is running, but no content has been added yet. So this is simply a message from the web server. This is not a website, just simply the web server. So now there's no way to directly target this, but we can try to figure out, we can try to find out if there are websites hosted on this, if there is some content. So what we can do is we can use a tool known as dir, okay, or directory buster. There's actually another tool known as dir buster, and there is another one known as go buster. All of these are used for the same purpose. Okay, so dir, what we do is we use this tool, and it uses its word lists to try and figure out the uh, what directories or what files are present on a particular URL. Okay, so it's also like a dictionary or a brute force attack, you could say. Or it's not really an attack, it's just trying to figure out whether those pages exist or not. So dir http and the IP address in our case, because that's our URL. So it's what it's going to do is this is the URL base, this is the word list that it's using, and it's going to that word list actually contains a list of common directories or file names that are usually found on web servers, which are websites basically. So it's going to use that list and see what it can find. So every address, every URL within this list, it's going to try on this web server. If it finds that is available, it's going to tell us. So let's see. Okay, directory, it has found something known as secret. So 10.0.2.245/secret. So let's try this. And of course, it will try to go inside that directory and search as well. But let's just first try accessing it. Secret, let's see. Okay, so what we're doing is we are able to access this website. Okay, server not found. What I did was I just clicked on a post and it told me that the server was not found. Can you tell me why that might have happened from the result that you see on this page?
Hello world is not come because might be permission problem with that file, particular file in the system, or that file itself is not available, or permission issue. Like in it, I don't have execute or read permission on it.
Now, see, this is a website, okay? Think of this as when you visit a website over the internet. Okay,
Okay.
this is just like that.
Okay.
So,
No.
on a website, okay, if you click on a link, so that's just what we did. We clicked on a link, but it tells us that, okay, we are having trouble finding that site, server not found. Besides this error message, can you find something which might be the reason why we are having this trouble?
Hello dot world is present in the system, but it is not, nothing is written in it. I think nothing is, it's empty file or something. I was.
See, even if
Oh,
it's an empty file, it should show up. It would show up as an empty file then.
yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Unable to gather and unable to answer. No. Not
Okay.
getting the proper answer.
Okay, no problem. See, so far what we are doing is, okay, we are accessing this 10.0.2.245 slash secret. Okay. Actually, okay, let this page refresh. What I'll do is I'll shut this down. I'll start the browser again. The issue we are getting is actually I was going through this in a previous class as well. So the browser has a cached version of the web page in its memory. That's why we are getting somewhat of an issue. Restart this session. Now see what was our URL 10.0.0.2.245 slash secret. That was it. Okay. Hello world. This is a post archives. Let's say I go to archives. Let's see what we get. Now see when it gives us the error, it says we can't find the server at VTC sec, and the URL also changes from 10.0.2.4.245. It becomes VTC sec. So basically, it's trying to send a request to VTC sec, not to the IP. Now, what I'll do in this case is, so this has been configured in such a way so as to take us to VTC sec, not to the IP itself.
Okay, sir.
So, are you aware of what a hosts file is on a system?
Yes, host files. I know, sir. We have to give IP and host name in it. We can give host name to a system, or it acts like a DNS also. That's particular
Yes.
file.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the host file on my system, on my Linux, on my attacking system. So what I'm going to do is nano etc hosts. And so you know that before sending a DNS request, your system is going to check within this file if it can find the entry for that particular IP or that particular host. Sorry, entry for that particular host. So if it finds the corresponding IP, it's not going to send a DNS request. It's just going to use this value. So what we can do is we can associate this IP 10.0.2.245 with the host VTC sec. Okay, you are able to understand what we are doing and why we are doing this.
Yes, we are giving a DNS name to it as VTC sec, which is missing previously.
Okay, so we've done that. Now uh, let's see if I can access this post now. Oh, okay. That should not have appeared. Just give me one moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this machine. It's actually changed. I need to just restore it to the previous snapshot. And okay, should be usable now.
So is there no need to do command like service network restart after adding host name, sir?
No, no, we don't need to do that. I mean, you may need to do that if it's not taking,
Okay, understood.
it's not making a change. But usually, in 99.9% cases, you won't need to do that. Okay, so the system has booted up again now. I have to go here. So you can see it's opening up properly now. And anywhere I want to go within this website, I can go because you see the
It,
VTC sec is now appearing here. The URL has changed. It's no longer using the IP. And whatever I want to do on this website, it is going to work properly and I will be able to see the entire website well. Okay, now whenever you get a website, okay, as part of any kind of test that we do, it's always a good idea to check out the robots.txt file. Okay, so that file doesn't exist on this server. No problem. Are you aware of this file?
no, sir. First time.
First time? Okay, let me tell you what it is. Now, you know that Google and other search engines, okay, they index all the websites that they can find. Okay, let me just go to the website for, let's say, this domain. Okay, so this is a robots.txt file. This is what it looks like. Now, Google and a lot of other websites, they use automated crawlers, which, go to websites and whatever they find, whatever web pages they find, they add them to their index. So that's how Google builds up its database. And of course, other search engines as well. They use the same kind of thing. But what if, there are certain parts of your website that you don't like, um, that you wouldn't like to be available in search results. You wouldn't want it to be publicly available in the search result. So you can add that. Okay. You can add that here. You can say disallow. So whatever bots are trying to crawl this website, they won't go to these domains. Whatever you mentioned in disallow, everything that's within allow, they'll see. But if something is disallowed, so, so they'll not index those pages. They'll not go to those pages. And user agent star, that means any automated bot which may be trying to crawl this website, which may be trying to look this website up and add it to its index. You can add specific user agents, like for Google you have Google bot. You can add that if you only want to add rules for Google, but usually you add rules for all bots. So user agent star, and you want to allow them to everything else but these paths, these pages. So they shouldn't be able to go there. That's what you configure in a robots.txt file. Now, when you're testing a website, this file can help you look for sensitive web pages. Okay, web pages containing sensitive information, and that information might be useful as an attacker. Now, we are not going to attack that website. That's not what we are doing. That was just an example because this website does not really have a robots.txt page. Okay, so this is the WordPress website. Okay, it's a blog which has been created using WordPress, and there are various references to WordPress here which tell us that. So proudly presented by WordPress. There are links to WordPress. Okay, in the comments, default name is WordPress commenter. So there are enough mentions of WordPress to tell us that this website has been made using WordPress. Now, keep in mind that this is very important information because if you know that a website is built using WordPress, you know what framework has been used for the website. That means you can target your efforts towards that. Okay,
Yes, sir. Understood.
understood. Okay,
Yes.
so oh, it's almost time. So what we'll do is in the next session I'll continue on this. We'll see how we can further attack it. Okay, we've identified that it's a WordPress website. We have gotten the URL and we are going to see ways to hack into it.
Sure, sir.
Okay. So, do you have any questions from the session?
No questions from this session, sir.
Okay. And are you trying the things that we're discussing in class? Are you practicing along?
Yes, sir. I do. This machine also have installed, sir. I will practice this today.